Hi and welcome along to the channel. This time we're doing a bit more work on the Z3. We're going to be changing the exhaust because, as you know, the exhaust on the Z3 at the minute is really noisy. I suspect it's not a full exhaust, there's bits missing on it and it's just not very good. I want a more standard exhaust. So I've got a standard exhaust and a new catalytic converter and a O2 sensor for the exhaust. Let's go and take a look and see how difficult this is going to be. You'll see we've got the two sections. We've got the front section, which includes the catalytic converter. We've got the rear section, which is, I think that's just a resonator, and the back box itself. So we're going to take a look at the existing, and first of all just make sure that it all lines up. So I'm going to get the car jacked up onto axle stands, get the rear as high as I can to get underneath, because obviously it's a low car and that's one of the problems when you're working on the exhaust, because I don't have a lift unfortunately. Now the car's up in the air, we've got axle stands both sides and also left one of the jacks in place as well. So we're nice and secure on both sills, nice and fastened up, and we can take a look at what we've got underneath. Now you can see no back box in here. We'll go along and you can see what looks like another silencer, then the cat, which then goes up to the twin pipes up at the top, which is our entire exhaust piece to remove. Now just looking, I don't think we've got any more couplers. There might be a coupler up there just after the cat. So I'm going to go under there and have a look and see, because if we can then take this rear section off first, that'll make things a little bit easier. I can see what looks like, yep, a compression fitting, which is what we want to undo. I think we take that one out and that then allows us to remove the rear and separate the front. And then I can also have a look at my replacement and see how good or bad a fit it's going to be. So I'm going to get that one undone, or at least try to. A couple of huge 13mm bolts on a spring compression fitting, and that's off. What I've done is I've fastened the front half up with the bottle jack just to hold it in place, and then actually this rubber mount looks like it's about to go, but we can take that one and that one off, and then I should be able to take the rear of this exhaust off. Yeah, that exhaust mount gave way, look. Need to get that off. That one is perishing, so that's not good. Hopefully I've got some exhaust mounts. But there's the rear, what I guess you'd call a silencer. So we can take this out, compare it to the new one that I've got in the background, and then also bring the other one underneath and just have a look at how it all lines up. Make sure it all looks like it might vaguely work. Well, I spent a lot of time trying to get the clamps off at the front, which is where it goes onto the manifold. This is the under tray. If I'd taken this off from the start, I got much better access. So there's a hint: take the under tray off, and that does give you an awful lot more clearance and access. So if I now go underneath, and I'll show you what I mean. So starters, you can also get a much better view underneath. But now you can see there's our O2 sensor, and now you can see we've got a lot more clearance to get out all of the bolts, and actually it meant that I could use my impact wrench with a socket to get them undone, and they're actually all undone now. The only thing I need to loosen, I think, is this, so that when I come to undo it or drop the exhaust, it's not going to jam the wire or pull the wire too much. Need to find where that connector goes to as well. So first thing, to remove the O2 sensor, or the Lambda sensor it's sometimes called, it's going to be really tough to get it out of there, so I think we're just going to disconnect the connector. Now I don't know how this connector disconnects though. Looks like it's a push fitting. Let me work this out and I'll tell you. So to undo the Lambda sensor, what you have to do is lift this clip that's on either side, and then you can separate the two. And you can see there we've got the Lambda sensor out. So now, if I take my one nut that I left in, I can drop the exhaust on top of me and take it out. So I'll take the exhaust out and we'll have a look. So now I can compare and make sure that everything looks similar on the old and the new. That looks good. So we can prepare the new one, put the new Lambda sensor, I've got a new one to go on, and get it all prepared up, ready to refit. I've also got a new gasket to go on, so I think I'm going to need to clean the other surface, because it didn't look like there was a gasket on, so it may have used instant gasket, which means I'll need to get the wire wheel and clean it up before I can fit it. Good news is I've found it did have a gasket on, and I do have a replacement gasket, so that's fine, that works. However, there does look like there is a subtle difference between the new exhaust and the old. That's where our O2 Lambda sensor goes in, so it's a pre-cat Lambda sensor. However, if you follow the exhaust on the new, you will see there is a post-cat O2 or Lambda sensor, and the old one doesn't have that. It only has a single sensor. So the problem I've got is I now need to block this hole up with something. Now I was thinking what I could do is take the sensor out of the old exhaust and put that in and just not connect it. That would be fine. However, that is so welded on there, I've used heat, all sorts, and just cannot get that to release. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this exhaust, but I'm not going to be able to use it until I get something to plug this. Now I'm going to look and see if I can get a bolt that will fit it. If not, if I can find a cheap O2 sensor that will just go in and plug the hole, because it doesn't need to do anything, it just needs to plug the hole so it's not open. Before we go any further, let's put the new O2 sensor on, because we might as well get this in place whilst it's out of the car and easy to do. The threads on these are normally terrible. The machining on them, yeah, that doesn't feel right. There we go. I'll get this fastened up and then we can go and see how well it fits on the car. That's those bolts done up, or the nuts I should say. They were 14mm. I've tightened them all up, had the gasket on. Now what I'm going to do is connect the Lambda sensor connector back up and get that in place. I did have to move this bracket a little bit. This bracket seemed to be in the way a little bit, but that's not too bad. So I'll connect that up and then we'll work at getting the rear of the exhaust in place. You'll notice that most of it is done now, actually all of it. I've put the compression fitting on, I've used some fitting paste there. Hopefully that's tight enough and that's going to seal nicely, and you can see the rest of the exhaust is in place now. Now the main reason why I didn't film putting all of this on is because I just literally couldn't juggle the camera at the same time. The back box section is quite tricky to fit just because of the weight and the angle. The only bit that I'm a bit concerned with is it is actually touching the bulkhead of the car. I'm not sure if that's going to cause a bit of a knock or a rattle. I'm not sure if that should be what it's like. I don't know if the regular exhaust is like that. If you do have one and you know about that, do pop a comment. That would be really useful so I know. You can also see the hole that we've got for the secondary Lambda sensor. Also that bracket is right in the way as well, so whatever I put in there is going to have to be pretty small, I would have thought, but oh, that's something I need to try and find to fit in there. So I'm not really sure whether there's any point in even starting it. Because of that hole there, it's going to be almost impossible to see whether it's made a difference because of the pressure. And there we go, I'm covered in dirt because it's a messy job getting the exhaust done on the Z3. As usual, really difficult because it's a low car as well, and just exhausts are so much hard work if you don't have a lift, which of course I don't. Trying to get the car high enough so that you can squeeze underneath is really difficult. But I think that's got it sorted. Like I said, I need to plug that second Lambda hole up. Now I've found online you can buy that M18 just a small stubby bolt that'll fill it, so I'm going to do that. I've got one on order. I think I might give it a start up now just to see what it's like. Obviously don't want to run it for long because the exhaust gases are all going to blow out of that hole and make a right mess, but I'm going to start it up and see what it sounds like, because I'm curious what it actually sounds like as is with that hole open, but with the rest of the exhaust in place. Hopefully it's going to be a bit quieter. Nope, definitely not quieter. A lot louder, because it's effectively got a hole in the exhaust. So I'll get that fitted, get it tested out, and I'll let you know how I get on. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Pop a subscribe, a like down the bottom, or if you've got any comments on the Z3 build or anything on the exhaust or anything like that, pop a comment down the bottom. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. There we go. Fitted a little blocker. I'll just tighten this compression fit back up again. Hopefully we'll have a sealed exhaust. That sounds pretty promising to me. We've got a good bit of pressure on the exhaust, and I think it's going to sound pretty good. So I'm going to start it up and see what it sounds like. good bit of pressure on the exhaust, and it's not sounding too bad at all. So I think we've got the leak sorted, and that's the new exhaust on. Thank goodness for that.